We are live.
Hi, excuse me. Welcome to the self-help bookshelf. Good to have you all back. I'm going to do my best tonight to let Rory speak more than me. But this is where we bring you personal development topics every week or conversations about personal development style words and concepts that help you find your higher self. And today we're going to be talking all about goals and visions. So, yes, I love this. I love the fact that this is like um, being able to see into the future. We talk about time travel not being possible, but we can see into the future with goal setting and visions. So take your spaceship away, Rory.
Thanks for kicking off. So well, even though you have a little bit of congestion there. Okay. And my name is Rory. I go by Rory Lemonade on the internet, and I am a neurodiversity and creative flow coach to help neurodiverse heart-centered creatives get through procrastination into getting their visionary projects out there, visions, and how they can set their goals to get there. And that's hinting at it slightly already, the difference between what is because when you think of it, you can set goals, you can set a vision, or have a vision for something, and they are quite different, as I would like to describe it. Um, and the thing that comes up for me that's most important, that was really profound when I was doing um, the learning about coaching, was when I first got into coaching, I was seeing people setting their goals. Um, and I had to set, I was on a program and I had to set my goal for what I wanted to create and then see if I needed what I needed along the way to make it happen and what coaching I might need along the way, which is a good way of going about things to see what, as an experiment of, what is, what is wanted and what does it look like. And that's sort of the look like is the visionary part, the end result of what that goal looks like. And the setting of the goal is potentially what steps along the way to get there, but also not necessarily needing so much of that from what my experience has been learning about this. When I did the leadership training a bit later on, it was all about vision a lot more. And it's I, there's one analogy that I like to bring about which helps to understand a bit of the differences is um what do we what do we do when we want an apple from the shops? We yeah,
Yeah, we go and get one, but we think about it first.
think about it. Yeah, think about it. And that thinking about it, depending on our intuitive way we process information or intuitive pathways, whatever you want to call it, in terms of how we see that thing we want, is either we see it in our minds, most likely a lot of people see an apple, or we can feel what it would be like to be eating an apple. And
Mm,
oh, oh yeah, I really want an apple. Uh, and so there's feelings, there's seeings, and then there's writing down apple on a piece of paper on your shopping list as well. And there's writing. So some people may see or uh, hear or speak words more in language processing than visuals or feelings or a mix. It's usually a mixture of both. It's not that black and white. But I'm just going in a bit more detail around what having a vision is, because when we want something or aim towards it, we're looking for, we end up seeing it in our mind or feeling it in our mind. And so that is the ultimate goal for that, but it's that desire and that what we want to bring from the future to now. When we are in vision, it's happening to us now.
Yeah.
And the goal setting part is, which is more it's a little bit more technical. It's like, which shop do I want to go to? What type of apple? Um, all these kind of things. But the vision is the thing that drives us there, because goals are more tricky. They are challenging. It's like more things to think about or break down, or what I don't have and what do I need to in order to make it happen. That's all quite energetically takes a lot of effort. So so with the goal setting, people are often not like it. Some people love the challenges of things, but some people would put that off. If it was a big goal for a big vision, it's more likely to be averted to like goals and goal setting, because it's
Mm.
effort. Whereas there's no effort in imagining the end result. And so that's why I like to bring in and teach around it, is it's more about the vision, because when we're in vision of it and we stay in vision in our mind, it drives us there. And so when some people say maybe that they can't visualize something,
Mm.
there's often a way that they are automatically doing that. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to get anything that they wanted on a day-to-day basis, because they'll probably be visualizing something. Or
Yeah, I think it's the actual seeing it like we would see a dream. And in daytime, if you say to me, "Oh, apple," I can picture what an apple looks like in my mind. But to some people, they remember the word, or they might remember the taste or the feeling in some other way, but they can't picture it in the actual mind like a visual image.
Mhm.
And it's actually called aphantasia. And yeah, I've heard of that quite a lot. And there are other people who've got various different versions of this, um, who find it very difficult to vision. And there was one lady I was watching a documentary on only a few months back who'd got a version of this where she can never remember people's faces, not even her own family. So the minute she turns away, she cannot visualize what they look like until she turns and sees them. And she has to constantly have like pictures around her so she can compare and think, oh, yeah, that person's that one, that one. And she knows from the pictures who was who. Now, interestingly enough, this lady had used this to become her strength, and she was a reporter. But she said because she'd got so good at asking people just the right questions to remind her who they are without actually saying, "Who are you again?" She actually made a brilliant reporter because she knew how to ask all the right questions. So that's slightly off band of here, but again, she has every time she has a conversation, she's got this kind of goal setting around finding out who this person is because she couldn't vision, and so that was interesting. Um, but yeah, the bit about you saying about goal setting and talking about the list in the middle, to me, the list is the manifesting part in the middle. So you got the vision. So you could have a vision of living in a fairy tale castle, but that's not going to make it come true. You could have the goal of buying your own home and making it look like a fairy tale castle. And that is a goal, but it's the making it happen in the middle that is the manifesting. And even when we go shopping, we put things on a list because that's manifesting what we want to remember when we get there or plan to buy when we get there. And when we think about things like, I don't know, you talk about people manifesting a nice dream holiday. Well, to do that, you have to go and buy a ticket. But once you've bought the ticket, the airline apply your name to the manifest. So they know when they're going to get this plane to take off, their goal is to get you from A to B safely. But in the middle, they create a list of passengers called the manifest. So I always think of the list as manifesting, is in that's what goes from this idea of I'm going to go on holiday or I'm going to fly all these passengers to actually making sure we get the right place, we got the right people. Or another way is if we're thinking of it as in getting in a car and thinking, right, I'm going to go for a drive to the beach, we've got to know where we're going from, where we're going to, and then the directions are in the middle that help us to get there. So in a way, they kind of all these different theories all come together with this, and it covers so many different topics in a way, like you say, from buying an apple to taking a journey to taking a big holiday, building a house, and having a list of materials you got to use, and like again, like the shopping list, but the construction list, and all the people that you need involved. It's all part of the process. So this process can happen on the smallest scale right through to the biggest projects on earth, and the processes are pretty much the same kind of processes, but the bigger the project, the more detailed the process gets.
Yes, well done. Yes, that's awesome. I love the explanation. Um, and I also there's an element of that that when I talk about like the wisdom in action, um, that a lot of a lot of what for one person to do a really big project and make that happen could seem im difficult, impossible, or and actually, yes, it can involve other people. And so, but I like what you said about the listing. The listing is an action to create the goal settings. Not everything has to be written down in some ways for it to start moving. And often setting the goal of this is when this is what I want and when I want it is important for the goal set, and then all the steps, yes. So like you say, writing is just one of those things to put into action to start creating it in reality, and the various other any other action with a vision in mind can also help to manifest it if it's in alignment with whether we truly want it or need it, and the synchronicities that are around in our lives, potentially with what other things we are connected to or disconnected from as well. So, for instance, if there's some like a difficult relationship going on, uh, that could be weighing the brain down and split and sort of distorting the vision, or not, or breaking down the vision of what's possible. Therefore, it's difficult to do that with other things in life because there's a tension or a struggle. So it's resolving some of these any other challenges to help. It could potentially mean that um, big things can actually be done in a short space of time. And I've seen that again, as I think I mentioned that before in the leadership training, I saw like 150 people or around that, at least 130 people in 4 months achieve just insanely crazy things that they declared in three, it was in 3 months because we did 1 month of training and then declared a goal, and then it was there's like there was a 97% success rate on this leadership training because it's
Was
so.
the number you were talking about last week? I thought you meant people you'd helped. I didn't realize you were referring back to leadership training. That's a phenomenal amount of people on a course. Yeah.
It's one of the I would say it was I would say it was probably the best. I don't know because I haven't been on any other leadership training trainings, but I'm really glad I manifested that one because I think that anyone talks about leadership, they don't tend to describe it in the same way of all the transformation that I had in that 4 months. It's like bits and pieces. It's like, different types of leadership, and whereas this one just opened up my eyes to manifestation processes. Like I wasn't expecting that. I was hoping to like learn how to enroll people and get my business going, and it totally rewired everything that I knew about life along the way, and saw that many people having transformations and achieving th just incredible things along the way. Um, just coming back to the goal setting thing around like writing. Writing is the action that declares it, and so and then but it can also be speech. So having the vision and just talking, saying out loud enough times for it to become a belief or a memory enough for it to be manifesting. And it's always like it comes from a place of repetition enough is the bit that's the goal setting. If the goal set is enough and it's reminded every single day, that's what potentially creates it in reality. So there's like writing, speaking, even just walking in with remembering, looking, reminding of the actual end result is an action, and that's where that wisdom in action comes about. So it's not just, I'd say, not just tied down to those that like writing lists, because if you've got an aversion to it, I've seen other people manifest a lot of things without having to write a lot of stuff down. But yeah, so but yeah, yeah, it's all great to notice. It's like the vision is one thing, it's and then the actions and the ways to manifest it being the goal setting and on the other side.
Mm. Oh, it's tremendous. Yeah, so much involved, and it just amazing when you realize how many things, like you say, can be based on vision and goal setting. And sometimes we can do these things so subconsciously, like, oh, I want a cup of coffee, and you go and get it without really thinking about it. Next thing you know, you're like, I'm sure I made a cup of coffee, and your cup's empty again. And so some things we just do subconsciously almost. And then there's other things, like you said, are so bigger planning. We need teamwork and stuff, but in between. Um, but the goal setting, I think, is something that I've been good at having like the visions of what I want to do over the years, but the goal setting I've sometimes found a little bit harder because I'm looking at a goal that's sometimes so far away for something so big that I want to achieve. I feel overwhelmed by it. What do you recommend for that one? I am avoiding talking too much, you know.
Yeah. That's a great question. And two 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 elements come to mind. One is the overwhelm part, which is the uncomfortable feeling of fear of something. So the fear of not happening, fear of it not being possible, fear of trying and failing, fear of achieving it and it being so almost like, do I deserve to have that thing in my life? Because right now I don't have it, or the subconscious will find evidence to say, who do you think you are to have that? Or, or that it's not happened before. All these times you've said it before and it's not happened. So the fear of not having it because it's not here now, but and so there's that the overwhelm comes in, but it's about, and again it's remembering that that is there's a reaction or a trigger to wanting to be safe, and so it's actually a good thing. It's a protection, but what's happening is that it's also potentially overruling the ability to make it happen. So it's important to notice it, calm it down, and move forwards anyway. And sometimes that is like just trusting to in the unknown of making the first steps and doing what you can do and speaking to people. And again, it's manifesting it from a place of who's done that thing. It's like looking into who the self care of which experts have done it and be around those people talking about it, making it happen, rather than people that think it's not possible and getting feedback that is not aligned with the vision. And then the element of that, so there's the overwhelm, which is just a protection mechanism, and working with that to actually trigger to move forwards anyway, because because if it's that important, like it's it's worth a shot rather than just staying sane. And then on the other side of that, the vision being that is it is it refined enough that when you think about it, it completely lights you up from head to toe. Or maybe because sometimes we can get desires confused with vision, and desires are sometimes things that we want to make us feel better about ourselves because we feel in lack, or that something's not happening, or that there's a, reminding us of the struggles or the things we don't have. If we're focusing on what we don't have and want something from that space, it actually reinforces it and keeps things away because of the thing that we do want. We're reminded of not having it, and we're also feeling in lack in the first place. And it may not be true. It might not be actually a truest vision. How to differentiate that is to look at vision from a perspective of, if I were to have that, or what do I want? Even scrapping everything, just double checking, and that's what I do all the time, is recheck my vision, which is, when my vision happens, does it not just help me, but help others, and or does it inspire others or the world? And that is the part that I learned through the leadership training as well, because when we have a vision of that, then it's so exciting. The passion and the purpose is so aligned that I end up getting up each day and being overwhelmed, if by just being neurodivergent, and all the bullshit coming up. The again the Who do you think you are to even wish for that? All that comes up every single day, and I take hours of my time to get into the energy. So, because if I'm in the energy of lack or struggle and I try to do things, it doesn't work. So I charge my batteries up in the vision, and then I take actions, and then things start to come back. And and now I've learned that with the mental fitness training as well, I've learned that everything that comes to me, or is a experience along the way, has something that is a stepping stone towards it, no matter whether it seems like it's a challenge or not what I want. I've eradicated that from my mind. That's taken time. That's not just like, hey, yeah, uh, just wish it to work, like you said, the dream, the dreaming.
Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant, Rory. And this, honestly, this is such a useful topic for so many people. And you get to a point as well, like you said, with all of that sense of lack, and you've got an idea, and it was a really big good point you picked up on a little while back about, you come up with an idea or a vision. Now you can go to somebody and say, oh, what do you think of this? Should I do this? And they don't support you, when really we could be going to somebody else and going, how can I do this? And that's the difference. Not should I do this, but how can I do this? And then the right people go, I know how. And that's why when I spoke to Rory and said about my coaching business, not only have I getting my coaching business off the ground, but we have the self-help bookshelf as well. So we achieved more than my vision. And it is all coming together beautifully. And more to come next week as well. But we have a new member coming. So from 3, we're going to go to 4. And I've got to do some more interviews with Emma this week as well about her book, because she's very close to finishing writing-ish. Definitely getting on with mine. How's yours coming along?
It's in vision.
See, that's the thing. You see, this is perfect topic. So in the self-help bookshelf, this is a great example for talking about our books. I had a vision many years ago about a book I wanted to write, and because then I wrote Brain Unchained. But I had to develop all of that vision in my head before writing it. So sometimes it's not as simple as thinking, oh, I'm going to get an apple and go and get it. Sometimes it's a bit more complex and a lot more to remember, and then keeping notes, and eventually the vision comes together. But then I've had a vision of writing an adult version of this, much more comprehensive. And when you're talking about making lists, well, in a book, that's the index. So I've actually created my index of all the topics I want to talk about. Now, yeah, it's shifting around a little bit as I go. But the same, you had this tremendous vision last year about wanting to put all of your memes and your photographs together. And that came out as Da-da-da-da. NeuroCreative Recollections, you see. And you had to start with a vision for this and to know what you wanted from it roughly, to put all of your memes and your photographs together for this creative book, but at the same time is so incredibly inspired through a lot of these with your mental fitness coaching and all of your, your leadership coaching, like a medical system that prides itself on research. Oh no, that was a long one. Let me pick a shorter one. I do like some of these. Oh, here we go. It took me a while to figure out what this picture was. It's moss on a wall, in case you can't figure it out. The secret to a calm and focused mind, breath, or body is to use them all at once. So, despite the fact that the book, Rory's really managed to pull it together. This one makes me laugh. Really creative, fun, poetic book with less words and more flavour, as Rory puts it. There still had to be a vision there before even beginning, and that was incredible. And the same with Emma, and she wanted to do hers, the Critical Parenting Reframed. She had this vision of the book and started writing before even having the title, and I did the same. So that's Emma's breaking free from limiting self-beliefs and finding self-acceptance. But even before these, because me, the vision goes back a lot further, and mine is, first of all, Emma wanted to become a therapist. That was a vision. She had to go and do the training. You wanted to become the mindset coach, and you had to go and do all your leadership and coaching training, your neurodiversity training. And then there's all of the holistic health that you've done over the years and the osteopathy. And that's a lot of visions that have all come together to create you. And it's incredible how visions can actually compound on each other as well. So yeah, Emma's got various aspects to her coaching as well. And it's all really, really powerful. But then even with our individual visions, as a self-help bookshelf, we bring those visions together to collaborate and help each other to help you through things like the podcast, the Facebook group, the LinkedIn group, which I've got to go and post in as well. I haven't posted much over the weekend with not feeling well. I didn't write as much as I'd visioned over the weekend as well. That was the other thing. Like you said about having things aligned, and they can be distractions. So yesterday I was planning to do another 7,500 words like I'd done on Saturday. I ended up doing just over 1,000 words. I just couldn't keep my head on it yesterday, nor today. But I can forgive myself, and that's another thing, bringing in the forgiveness. We've done one on that earlier. The self-care was more important, and making sure I get better, and then I can get back on with my vision. Go ahead, Rory.
That's all I wanted to. I was just wanted to wrap up with what you were saying before about the overwhelm, and it's not about like being perfect around getting the vision. It's a vision of how it feels and looks, and it can evolve. But the overall essential thing is it inspiring to self and others? And inspiring is means more than an individual, and so if it's inspiring, it can look in different ways. And there are days, of course, there are days when we can't perform at the same time, or at the same time, in the same way every single day. If if there's a balance, it's a balance of like, whether or not the energy's there. If it's like avoidance because of a little bit of tiredness, and that's an excuse to procrastinate, that's different to a real making sure, you know one whole weekend off every 2 months, or a whole week every 3 months, or one day out of each week is done in a completely different way, where it's just the pace is completely different, just to relax. All these things count and matter to the overall energy levels. And so, yeah, it's not about pretending you can just go at it every single time, and we wouldn't want to because we wouldn't know how we were improving if we don't have a break and a reflection point. And I obviously have a reflection point every day, but but basically, yeah, it's that thing of it to have a little break and actually calm down and get a little bit weaker at something and less strong at doing something actually is like going to the gym like 4 days in a row and then 3 days off is actually a good thing to repair and then come back a bit stronger. And it may take down a little bit, but it's actually better than keeping going till burning it out as well.
Yeah. And that's really good because you're saying about the vision and then getting there with that energy or having the energy to keep up with the production or the manifestation of whatever that is, the actual process of. And I suppose one of the things we could say is to then have that vision of the project done, but also have the vision of the project done whilst maintaining health and well-being. And is that not the very conversation I had with you last July, August, when I said I want to run my business, but I want to run my business and set this whole coaching program up without burning out, without overwhelming myself. And that was exactly the whole point of doing a lot of the work on myself this last year. Because in the past, I was well known for burning it in, and my pattern was to burn out about every 10 to 12 weeks on a low level. And I'd end up having to have a week off. And this last year, I've not had a week off. And I've managed to, okay, some days I've worked maybe 3 days a week. Some days I've worked 6, 7 days a week. But the point is, when I have worked 6, 7 days, I've still had breaks throughout the day. Right. How can I get through today where I get all these jobs done and still have my energy at the end of the day or not use up so much energy that I haven't got any for tomorrow? And so bringing your own well-being into that vision as well is really constructive. So well done, Rory. I like that one. And I would say eat lots of apples, but I'm allergic to apples. He keeps using apples to torment me. I swear it. Honestly, I'm one of the rarest people in the world. I actually get like an anaphylactic reaction if I eat an apple. My face swells up and everything stings and blisters, and I end up really ill. So keep tormenting. It's fun. I can still vision eating an apple, even though I can't eat an apple.
Bonus.
Yes, I can still kind of almost taste it, but I just can't actually go and eat them. But yeah.
Well, yeah, I think we got it all pretty much covered there. It's the most human thing you can do, and the most
Hmm.
gracious thing you can do in life is really get clear on your vision. And I love to do vision mapping sessions for people that are heart-centered that want to get their projects out there in the world. So, yeah,
Absolutely. And I think the only thing I don't remember coming up, or we've missed it, and when goal setting is breaking the goals down like micro goals as well. And I think another part about the vision and the goal setting is, like we said, when you're burning out, one of those things is rewarding yourself as well. A sense of accomplishment is important, not just at the goal, but along the way. And a sense of accomplishment for having achieved this part of the step, this part of the process, making movement with that, getting somebody else to do something else because you've delegated it, and having a way of setting mini goals and rewarding and celebrating along the way is important as well. And that's all part of the not burning out.
great point. Great point. Yeah, because um, I think that's one of the reasons how it's easy to burn out, like you were saying as well. Every few weeks because we can get excited, the adrenaline comes in, and staying fixated on something, and the adrenaline of wanting to get it done. But it's also like a sabotaging mindset as well. I'll be happy only when that happens, so I stay focused on it. And
Mm.
as soon as when that happens, there's only a limited amount of time before that novelty wears off. And sometimes for some people, it's called hyperachieving, and it's actually never. It's actually they're setting the goals because they don't ever feel like they can celebrate themselves or um
Yeah.
feel good. feel good to rest. So it's
Always
like
looking ahead. Yeah.
going instead of resting because resting doesn't feel good, and that's
Mm.
the thing to bear in mind. That's important. The goals will keep moving, and that happiness set will be never now, and it's that's the main thing, and that's where the vision and the goal setting, it comes back down to the energy of now is so important.
Yeah. And that is absolutely true. And so a lot of life is not about the destination, it's about the journey and enjoying the journey getting there. Because once you get there, what's next? It's done. And then you're going to start another journey. And then it will be again focused on the goal and not the journey. So it's focusing on how you can actually be happy all the way along the way. And like you said, when we're resting, that's another one. A lot of people will self-sabotage, as you say, by feeling guilty about resting, not resting effectively, sitting there constantly checking the phone, worrying what they got to do next, rather than resting actively enough to recover and come back and be more productive. So there's lots of things. Honestly, we could talk about this for hours again, couldn't we? But we're going to keep it short today because I'm feeling it. But yeah, so goal setting for next week. Next topic. Shall we set a topic for next week?
Yes. Do you want to pick a card?
Oh, I was going to say, or do you want to do the other one we looked at before we started?
Pick a card anyway, since I'm holding them.
Okay, go on then. There. Joy. Oh, that's a good one.
Sharing the joy.
Yeah.
Share out joy.
Because the other one we were looking at was neurocreativity. So unless we can put them together,
Well, it's all about that. So yeah,
there
why
you
not?
go. So the joy of neurocreativity. We'll do that next week. And that's how you set a goal, just like that.
Boom.
Sorry. But anyway, thank you so much, everybody, for watching. And again, let us know, please, in the comments if there's anything really helpful you found from this, anything you want to know about next week's as well. And catch up on some of the other episodes because a lot of our topics, although we do a lot of standalone topics, they are really powerful when you combine these skills together. And so this is all one big holistic series of self-help topics in the self-help bookshelf to help you find your higher self. And today was all about visions and goal setting from me, Kay Reeve, emotional awareness expert who forgot to introduce myself earlier, and Rory Lemon. I'll tell you any more about me next week. Anyway, take care, everybody. We'll see you again soon.